Mr. Johnson.
And hello, I am Cassie, producer of the original box set Shadowrun podcast, and Max and I are here to hijack the Shadowcasters Network Streamathon. For the next 2 hours, we are going to be introducing the Shattered Isles, our original Pathfinder campaign setting that this guy has been working on for a long time, and I've been helping him for the past 10 years or so. So we're really excited to present it to you guys. I will let everyone else introduce themselves real quick. And actually, before we introduce ourselves, I am supposed to remind you that there are going to be 2 raffle drawings at the end of our show because Paranoia went over a little too far. So we are going to have
a raffle for a replica Fallout 4 Pip-Boy and Fallout 4 stem packs at the end of our show. Bobby will be coming back in to hang out with us all, and he'll be running that raffle.
Yes, and also probably correct us on what you guys are actually going to be getting. So,
because it said, the next line of information I got written down is Bobby said something about a Corvette, but I don't know if that was right or not.
Yeah, I
don't think he wants to give out a Corvette.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm buying all the raffles if you're giving out Corvettes. Yes. I would like a car.
And if you would like to win that Corvette or the Fallout merchandise, you need to get your raffle tickets. There's a link that someone, I'm sure, will be very helpful to provide in the chat on where you can go to buy those raffle tickets.
Yeah.
The more you buy, the more awesome you are, and the higher chance you're going to get that Corvette. So,
raffle.
And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce Max. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Max. Game master for this Pathfinder preview. I was the one who originally came up with the concept, and for the last 10 years, Cassie has been assisting me to create this unique and interesting world. I hope you guys really enjoy it. I personally have enjoyed it. I think I started writing this around the turn of the century, like 2001. So It's kind of old for me, but it's still fun. And
it's old news.
It's old news. It's new news. It's old new news.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Should I say anything else about myself?
Well, how long have you been game mastering?
Well, that would kind of like show my age.
That's okay. You look great for your age.
Okay. First started game mastering when I was 12. I ran a James Bond from Victoria Games back in middle school. And apparently everybody liked it, that I was running it every afternoon and at school. 30 years later, I'm still running games. You do the math. So I've been at this for a little while, and I like doing it.
Yes, and the gentleman with the very bushy beard is my brother, John. John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, yes, my name is John, and I do have quite a bushy beard. Thank you. But let's see. I'm a longtime friend of Max. How long has it been? Like 300-400 years, and even longer time brother of Cassie. Gaming history. When did it start? 2000 or 2001. So you do the math because time is a construct.
And last but not least, a face that you all are definitely familiar with, especially if you've been watching this streamathon the whole time. Paige, go ahead.
I was hoping you would do me. I didn't
it's
know
fantastic.
You were going to do anybody else.
You look great.
I was like doing this with my hands. Hi, I'm Paige. I do things here. I play Anarchy, and I did Paranoia like a couple of hours ago.
And My Little Pony the day before.
And My Little Pony the day before. And Once Upon a Tabletop. But you didn't see my lovely animated face. You saw a picture. I'm still here, though. I exist.
Excellent. And do you have anything more going on for the rest of the streamathon?
I'm doing Anarchy after this.
Excellent. Very good.
It starts at 9 normal time. But that is my last time on the streamathon. That is my last game. So after that, I'm going to eat and sleep.
Cheers to that.
So,
right.
I'm 22, Nick.
If we have to give our ages, that's not a requirement here.
I don't care. Strange question. Thank you for asking.
I am. Yes. I am 11D2.
11D2. That's a good name. I am a youngin. Thank you. I am tiny. I know. But yeah, I'm super excited to play this Pathfinder game because I've been itching to play a Pathfinder game. Pathfinder is my baby. I belong in that world.
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, you're most welcome here, and we're really excited to have the both of you be our guinea pigs in this grand experiment.
Yeah. She's not too far from the truth. It's a bit of an experiment. Over the years of gaming, I've ran across a number of systems that I have definitely enjoyed, from Warhammer Fantasy to all the editions of Dungeons and Dragons, to as well as GURPS, BattleTech. Man, I'm just going to stop because it's a really long list.
It's a long list. And GM Cat doesn't want to hear you anymore.
GM Cat here doesn't want to listen to me talk about stuff.
I think GM Cat wants to get the show rolling.
Okay, we can get the show rolling. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do an introduction. I got a lot of stuff I'm going to be reading.
Oh, don't tell him. Just do it.
Just start doing it?
We're doing it. And
we're doing it. We're live.
Yeah, do it live.
We're doing it live. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, travelers. Come, join us on an adventure like no other, where both familiar and foreign races live alongside humans, where magic is a tool for improving society, but terrifying to behold at its full potential, where people easily traverse the space between worlds, where you can almost touch the stars. Welcome, friends, to the Shattered Isles. The astral veil pulls away. The surrounding blackness is dotted with bright and colorful pinpricks of light. You are probably familiar with the night sky like this. Here, just like at home, the stars twinkle and help guide the locals as they sail through the void. In the far distance, months of travel away, a massive cloud of red and yellow gases glow with ambient light. You know these as nebulas. The people of the Shattered Isles do just the same. The trade winds push us along and steadily through the void to our destination. A field of floating rocks, idly outside its current. As we pass them, you see these aren't merely pitted asteroids colliding and breaking apart. Colorful growths, reminiscent of coral reefs on your world, are teeming with life. Mollusks and barnacles cement themselves to the rock. Air plants and fungi cling delicately to the surface, easily knocked off on impacts to spread their seeds and spores. A swarm of glowing insects buzz between the rocks like a school of fireflies. Tiny, flying creatures similar to bats dive through them for an easy meal. One unlucky flyer gets too close to the surface of a floating boulder. Before it can correct its error, a creature the size of a house cat leaps from concealment to grapple its prey. They spin out of control. The carp-paced predator clips the wings off its dinner with an oversized pincer before catching an asteroid with the hooks on its back legs. The void is far from empty. Thousands of species of flora and fauna make the space between isles their home. Life here spreads far and wide through the stars. A massive, oddly shaped rock increases in size as the trade winds carry us closer to our journey's end. It is far more significant than anything in the asteroid field. An undulating bubble of semi-transparent blue encases the whole of this massive chunk of Earth. This is an isle. The citizens call their home Narak, and it is ruled by King Roland Kadaf. Several moons and smaller isles nearby fly his flag as well. That blue bubble is essential. Out in the void, if something or someone is not tied down or attached to grindstone, it's going to float off and be at the mercy of the trade winds. Isles protected inside those bubbles, however, have a proper sense of up and down. Commonly known as the edge, sometimes pieces of rock jut out beyond it, allowing massive void barges to dock and transfer goods with ease. Second. There we go. Narak is wholly encompassed within its edge. Leaving the trade winds, we coast toward the isle, using their momentum to carry us forward. The landmass rises out from the deep blue that surrounds the isle's lower half. The ocean seems to be holding the isle afloat. In truth, the isle's core pulls the water toward its center, settling lower and being kept in place by the air that presses inward from the top of the edge. As we get closer, the blue-tinged details of the landmass come in focus. A large crescent-shaped bay surrounded by man-made objects can be seen as we make our approach. This is Namja, the capital city and seat of the Kadaf. I just stumbled over a word. Anyways, sorry. Seat of the Gaddafi monarch. It sprawls out around the bay over 4 miles inland. It is home to skilled craftsmen, physicians, and a university. Get ready. We are about to breach the edge. Feel that? That is the pool of the isle. Reach the edge too high, and you will fall to the ground. Too low? Well, hopefully, you can hold your breath long enough to swim up for air. Some void ship crews are skilled enough to breach the edge and transition to sailing on the water. As we get closer to Namja, a bright white castle sits above the rest of the city atop the red cliffs. This is the king's home. A massive wall surrounds the 6 towers and private gardens. The hidden palace spurs all sorts of rumors from the common folk of the city. Recently, a cobbler claimed that he was summoned to the castle to repair the king's collection of golden shoes. King Gadaf lives in opulence with his 3rd wife, Isolde, and 2 daughters, Amber and Sapphire. The Bay of Namja is packed with several vessels of the Royal Navy, yachts owned by wealthy merchants, stockyards, and trading ships. Of the ships, the majority can only sail through water. They simply are designed to breach the edge. There are some ships whose construction enables them to do both. In the Bay of Namja, one such vessel has returned from a void cruise. Just beyond the drawbridge that connects the tips of the crescent-shaped bay is a behemoth of a ship compared to the rest that are anchored around it. That's her. She is long and lean, almost 120 yards in length with a beam of 6 yards. She sits low in the water. 3 traditional masts with sails designed for speed and agility make her look formidable despite her age. The Amber Falls is a retired military vessel, refurbished and presented as a gift to Princess Amber Kadaf on her 21st birthday. A portion of the crew has not yet been granted shore leave. Several riggers climb around the sails, checking lines. Others idly swab the deck, waiting for Cookie to announce that the midday meal is ready. They look like a rough bunch. Years of void faring made them that way. And for many, it's hard to remember a time when they weren't on a ship. A large man called Gaz ducks his head to avoid hitting a crossbeam as he steps through the doorway onto the deck. While he may look like an oversized human, this mountain of a man is a Gathlin. Only males of their kind wander the void. It's said their women are twice as big as the men. Think about that. The ship's deck have 8-foot clearance, and Gaz has to duck to avoid knocking his bald head on the rafters. A small woman named Fern, standing no higher than mid-thigh to the Gathlin, follows him onto deck. She is an Elam. They're born with an affinity for elemental control. Some are more capable than others, and Fern recently learned how to maneuver herself through the void using nothing but the small puffs of fire she creates. She speaks with her hands, telling Gaz that she hopes Cookie got some real food since they docked. He laughs, shaking his head as they pass by the riggers climbing down to the deck. Inu hits the grindstone first. The failing man is no larger than Fern. Without a shirt, it's easy to see the unique markings between his shoulder blades. These are birthmarks, and all failings have them. Legend has it that failings once had wings. Long ago, the failings angered the fairy king of Arcadia. They escaped his wrath by leaving the fairylands. The king's punishment was to strip the whole race of their wings. He reaches in through a mother's womb with magic and cuts them away from the unborn baby. The birthmarks are scars where the stolen wings would have been. Dimitri and Gabriel follow. The young human and rat folk are new to the crew, but their talents for rigging can shame even the saltiest veteran. As they catch up to Inu, Cookie's bell rings from the mess, announcing that midday meal is ready. The skeleton crew enters a long room and heads straight for the chow line. The grizzled woman behind a steaming pot smokes a hand-rolled cigarette as she scoops a chowder-like stew into bowls for the crew. Come and get your mash. Gotta use up the last of the root stock before we resupply, so have your fill. Ash from her cigarette breaks free and falls into the mashed stew. There's some extra seasoning for you. Now eat up. All right, that was the introduction.
So we have a group full of people in the mess hall right now, having their lunch, waiting for anything else to happen, for somebody to come and tell them that they can finally leave the ship.
And go do stuff.
And if anyone is familiar with long sea voyages, a lot of the time, the way they have to pass that time is with stories.
So, as the crew has gathered, and you have been given a taste of this couple of smatterings of what some of the crew looks like, it's a call amongst some of the veterans to pass time, to tell a story.
Especially to the new people on the crew, who maybe haven't heard this story before.
Cookie looks to Gaz. I know quite a number of them. Which one you want to tell?
Well, I think that maybe we could start from the beginning.
Tell the first story?
The first story.
All right.
Do you want to start, or shall I?
No, I gotta stir this mash.
Fair enough. Long ago, the Shattered Isles were once part of a greater whole. It was called Geba, the first and greatest creation of Mother Earth and Father Sky. Their world was a paradise, one that flourished with beasts of every kind, but one. Mother Earth, after watching the miracle of birth and the renewal of life on her world, chose to create her own offspring. Father Sky was reluctant, but conceded to Mother Earth's unbending desire.
As he should.
This gave rise to a new form of being, the Titans. Desiree, the Daymaker, and Polypio, the Nightbringer, were the first. They worked in harmony, circling Geba. And Mother Earth made more children, sacrificing parts of herself to create them. There was Olo, the Gatekeeper.
Then Gazdan, the first composer.
And Balagat, the Mastersmith.
Yeah, the Weaver, maker of souls.
And Methelia, the mother of all monsters.
Don't forget the most important one for this story.
And the most infamous, Dontathorpe.
The vile betrayer. He wasn't born with that title.
No, but he certainly earned it.
There were a lot more than this, but for our story, this is what we got. Eat up.
Mother Earth and Father Sky looked upon their children with pride and satisfaction. They sacrificed their own power to give the Titans life. Exhaustion crept closer with every new child, until finally, their power spent, they made the choice to sleep. They left their children to tend to Geba and the beasts that inhabited the world. And so it was that Mother Earth and Father Sky left their children to their own devices for eons.
Yeah, you said they left their kids alone in the house. Two of her children, the Nightbringer, Polypio, and his sister, the Daymaker, Desiree, grew bored of the world and its animals. They wanted more. They wanted to make babies of their own, to have children. The twins searched for the knowledge of creation, looking for where their mother and father had kept it. When they found it, Polypio and Desiree were surprised to learn that there were two ways to create new life. The way of the little beasts of the world and the divine creation of mother and father. They stole the knowledge of baby making from their sleeping parents. The Daymaker taking the knowledge of divine creation, Polypio stealing the knowledge of carnal creation, as the priests call it. And so began the event that would change Geba forever. The Daymaker, with help of the Master Smith, he's a smith, so he's good with his hands, if you know what I mean. And the first composer, I think he was a guitarist or something, created gods using divine power. While Polypio, he's a very big man, very big man. Took Mathelia, she's very pretty, as a consort to make gods in the same way us mortals make babies. Oh, I need some water. Hang on. These gods. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Polypio's my man. These gods also wanted to make their own mark on Geba. So began the Age of the Forgotten. We don't know how many immortal babies were born back then. So many babies. First gods, and the gods made godlings, and the godlings made demigods. They were created and birthed with reckless abandon, like drunk rabbits. When the demigods were getting busy, their children, they were different. Babies with no divine power. They are us, the mortal races.
Their lack of divinity made them vulnerable to sickness and death as the animals were. As such, they were treated like animals, the playthings of the divine. Countless races were made in whatever image the gods desired. And countless races were destroyed at the whims of their creators. Their souls, however, wandered sorrowfully over the land in search of release. The races of man became the pawns in the growing divide between Desiree, the Daymaker, and Polypio, the Nightbringer, and the way they created new life. Whisper, the Soul Speaker, was to be the one who stopped the feuding between the Titans. However, she was not created as Desiree, the Daymaker, had designed, and so was left to wander the world as she chose. Whisper attracted the souls of dead men, women, and children of all races, and would listen to their stories and bring them small comforts. The Nameless One was to be the most powerful child of Mathelia, and she was successful. However, the Nameless One had a gentle spirit and would not fight, even when provoked and beaten by his mother. The Nameless One was sent away to wander the world in shame. And so it was that the Nameless One and Whisper, the Soul Speaker, found each other and became inseparable friends.
But there ain't no happy ending here. As their bickering moms discovered that the two had become friends, you know how that is. You meet somebody up the street, your mom don't like their mom, and, well, they sent down demigods to separate them. Like sending your big brother to drag you back home and spoil your fun. I mean, he was my age. It wasn't a big deal. Not wanting to lose his only friend, the Nameless One, swiftly picked up Whisper and ran. All right, this is the part where Anyways, in his haste to escape, the Nameless One crushed poor Whisper in his massive claws, killing her. And this was the event that would lead to the shattering. As both sides soon discovered, gods were not truly immortal.
Whisper transformed into the first aspect of death, known as the Soul Shepherd. And in the ensuing chaos, she ferried both mortal and divine to their places in the afterlife. It was here that the vile betrayer, Dontathorpe, chose to bring an end to all that was on Geba, including Mother Earth and Father Sky. His desire was not for a fresh beginning, but a judgment upon all. The great experiment of divinity and mortality had failed, and he would be the one to end it. And so he tricked Belagot to forge a hammer with the souls of gods, a device so powerful that it would blind the sky, sunder mountains, and boil the oceans to destroy all life. Under the cover of squabbling deities and suffering mortals, he unleashed his weapon on the world. In one stroke, Dontathorpe shattered the world, sending pieces of Geba and Mother Earth in all directions. Father Sky shredded like worn cloth barely held together by thread. Many gods and mortals perished in the initial destruction. Those who survived quickly realized the price of their divisiveness. Some, led by the god Roenteg, moved to subdue Dontathorpe before he could finish what he started.
The goddesses, Hope, Mercy, and Charity, they were triplets. Yeah. Begged the grieving Father Sky to step in. Not to save the gods in their folly, but to allow the mortals of Geba to another chance. He agreed on 2 conditions. All Titans and those who sided with Dontathorpe would be imprisoned for eternity, guarded by the remaining gods. And 2 of the sisters must sacrifice their mantles to guide his power. Mercy, on the cusp of death, gave her mantle to her sister Hope, and Charity did as well. I mean, that's touching. 2 sisters giving up so their 3rd sister would be able to do it. It was a good story.
Very beautiful.
Yes. With all their power and Father Sky's guiding hand, the devastation of Dontathorpe's blow was stilled, and the pieces of Geba were put the way we see them now. By Hope. She's very pretty too.
Everyone is pretty to you.
Honey, you had no idea.
But Geba and Mother Earth could never be restored. Father Sky created the shattered isles from her body, and he tore the tattered pieces of himself to wrap around her remains so that the life there could still flourish. He protected as many pieces of his beloved with his being as he could. And as his power waned, his ragged form could no longer hold together. In his last breath, he told Hope, "I have given life a chance to survive. I give myself so that the mortals will find a way to cross the space between and reunite my beloved." He released his grip on Hope's mantle and cast himself between the aisles, creating the void.
Oh, that's always a very touching story. It moves me.
It brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
No, it just moves me. Eat more mash. And the cook serves up more giant chunks of mashy green-white stuff into everyone's bowl and begins pouring it out.
So, our 2 new crew members. What did you think of the story? Have you heard that one before?
I mean, I've read about it.
Yes, my great grandmother would tell me that story. She almost did the voices as well as you guys did.
She almost copied our voices? That's
quite
impressive.
A stretch.
She was a special lady.
Yeah, well, that's good. You should respect your grandmother.
Yeah, great grandmother.
That's what I said. Eat your mash. And she pours another massive heaping of stuff in it. You think you got lucky? There's a bit of mollusk in yours.
However, I also noticed
shell.
the ash in mine, so...
Yes, ash, mollusk shell, and mash.
You know, you do make a lovely meal, but I think I'm gonna wait. You know, I'm just gonna wait. Might bored soon, hopefully.
What
Oh,
you
well.
want?
If you're not gonna eat yours, I'll take it too.
Okay, go for it.
If you want, I got some uncooked mash. You can just have it raw.
I wouldn't
I've
recommend it.
stocked that so many times, I don't even want to look at the package.
She shrugs, takes a bowl with ash in it, and starts shoveling it into her mouth.
Gaz, Bern, Inu, Dmitri, Gabriel are all doing the same thing because they know if they don't, Cookie is going to make sure that the quartermaster and the bosun know, so that way she can make sure to have some special mash ingredients for everyone later on that is not going to be pleasant.
Because you need to eat. So, Cookie's job, she works underneath the doctor. It's her job to tell the doctor when people aren't eating. And it's the doctor's job of checking the food. And you've met the doctor. He's a very, very alien kind of man, so he doesn't know what good food looks like.
Is he even a man, though?
Well,
we don't know.
You assume that he's male. You assume his gender.
Did you just assume
You assumed his gender.
I did.
How
I totally
dare
did.
you?
I know.
And we
well,
keep doing it.
His whole race. Sorry, its whole race. No one knows whether they're male or female because they're weird like that.
They
Anyways.
look like terrifying, oversized, praying mantis, flying cricket things.
Yes.
That are the size of a man, by the way. They have a very special form of communication, which as I'm assuming as the doctor comes in late because he was busy feeding his leeches, comes across, and as he walks through, he uses his very long, feathery antennas to brush everyone as he moves to the remaining pot to scrape out some at the bottom.
He has a long proboscis-like tongue that he uses, as well as having these antennas. He has normal arms like you and I would have, covered in a little bit of carapace. He's got two normal legs like you and I have, kind of covered in carapace. He has a thorax like a praying mantis would, more like an upright grasshopper. But the difference that sets him apart, the antennas are his form of communication. They brush their antennas across you, and it puts a chemical in your body that allows them to telepathically speak to you for a while. They can't read your mind, but they can send words to you. They can send you thoughts and stuff. It's kind of a one-way or somewhat limited form of telepathy. There's another one of these creatures on the ship. His name is Nibbly. He cannot send words, only pictures, and he has a horrible habit of chewing on everything.
Yes, hence his name being Nibbly.
He's one of the gunners. His job is to shoot the guns, and the captain has deemed him as being one of those valuable crew members for that purpose. Nibbly is able to knock the flea off a dog's butt at least 100 yards. Nibbly is not by himself. He has two people who work with him. In fact, he's not even in charge. He's not even capable of making good decisions. He's the person in charge is Fern, the small Spitfire. She's the master gunner.
Yes.
And she has an ally, or down in the gun deck, Barnacle, an old salty dog who
also tells some a good bit of yarns, although you can't believe his for a second. It's all just embellishment.
Embellished
and
stories.
And he's the hero of everything.
Yeah, old days in the Navy and stuff like that. So you guys will have a chance to hang out with him.
So, as we are settling in, everybody's eating. The doctor has approved the meal for, maximum nourishment and consumption. Let's go ahead and have the two of you introduce your characters. Let's start with the bearded one.
Well, I am Kodrog Stronson, Woodsmith of Ironhouse. I've left my iron home to learn the craft of carpentry, as all of our master carpenters were killed in the Great Leviathan attack, for which my great-great-great-grandfather was able to rescue us from, but not before half the isle was destroyed.
That is unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but at least now he's a hero. And soon, once my craft is perfected, I will craft him a statue to stand in the square. It will be my masterpiece.
That's a lovely thought.
That sounds very lovely.
He was very blocky, so it should be easy.
I like a man with ridges. Sharp jawline.
Just imagine my character just going out of his cup and he's like, yeah, oh.
With that sudden convulsion, the doctor will stop eating and pay attention to you, and you will get impression asking you in your head, are you okay? His voice is very soft and soothing, like a well-mannered doctor would have for bedside matter. Do you need leeching?
I don't think choking on water requires leeches.
What about a symptom kit? That can make you feel better.
I'm fine. You know what? I'll just drink. I'll be fine.
All right. When doing so, the doctor's going to want to make sure to watch you drink to make sure you don't choke this time.
Just remember, there's 2 pipes. There's the air pipe and then the other one.
Yeah. Normal people have those, yes.
So, and what's your story, Thomas?
Not that deep as your as our dwarven friend here.
We do tend to delve deep.
I like it when it's deep.
Oh my god. Okay.
We're talking about stories. God.
Yeah, sure you are. I simply just left home, joined the druids for a bit, started going on my own way.
The small Phaling who has been digging into his bowl leans over, looks past. You don't look like a druid.
No, I'm definitely a human. Just joined them for a time. It seemed,
most druids are covered in dirt and leaves.
And Fern signs in, and they smell weird. They smell weird.
Very weird.
Well, do I smell weird to you?
Do you know how to read sign language?
No, I don't. That's right. Does the Phaling sniff me?
Yeah. He looks at you, and he's speaking common. He will say, "She said you smell weird."
Thanks.
And Fern nods sagely.
Great.
So you're not a druid?
No.
Well, that's good.
I'm not. That's why do you say that?
Because I think it's weird how they don't eat meat.
It's their choice. When I was there, I ate meat. I mean, I got dirty looks from them, but one of them at least took a kindness to me.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Cookie.
Yeah. Cookie continues to watch people eat, and feeling somewhat satisfied with it. She will walk over to it's the dinner bell, right? Okay. She'll walk over to the dinner bell and is like, all right, everybody's good. She rings the bell. The doctor gives her a nod, which basically symbolizes that lunch is over. You guys get the hell out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thomas stands straight up and he's like, all right, good talk, guys. And he grabs his book and he just walks out.
Okay.
And Kodrug is frantically scooping the last of Thomas's gruel into his mouth.
All right, stuff's good, man. You don't know what her problem is. You could probably turn this into a beer or something.
The ash makes it kind of smoky.
Yeah. As you're heading toward the stairs, a large shadow comes into the entranceway to the chow hall. It's the Keshan, the quartermaster. His face is older, rugged than your cohort. What did we decide his name was going to be?
Karuk.
Karuk. He's much older and rugged looking than Karuk. He's also shaves his fur. He's dressed nicely, and it's not necessarily a derogatory term, but it's definitely a term that comes about, and some don't like it. It's called domesticated, in which a Keshan is referred to as becoming domesticated, where they shave their fur or dress finely all the time. But the quartermaster does do this, and he upholds to his standard of being a rough Keshan. He's also got a history of being an interrogator for the king back during the war, so prying people's flesh off was apparently his pastime. He enters into the stairway, looking down at all, as you guys are moving toward, and goes, "Captain just let me know. Second shift will be returning soon. When they get back, they'll be taking over for the skeletal crew. So you've got a bit of time. Get your stuff together. And you lot have the rest of the afternoon on shore leave."
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Cheers.
Finally.
Cheers from the rest. And he gives a nod to the rest. Cookie's like, "All right, get out of here." And she starts shooing people off. And the quartermaster will wander back away from the entranceway. With that, you guys have a chance to do some character role-playing and exploring of your personal selves in the ship, right? Mm-hmm. Before the second shift returns, so that you guys can have shore leave, and then we can go into the city.
No, I think we need to transition to the city.
We need to transition to the city?
Yeah, so the second shift is actually coming back as with the quartermaster.
Okay, so yeah, okay, we'll fix that. The quartermaster comes back and says, "Second shift is back. You lot can head into the city." And so you guys will have a chance to transition. So do we want to do anything else, or just...
Well, Inu suggests a very popular drinking establishment to show off to you all, since you haven't been here before.
Or have a new one that they haven't been to.
Yes.
And so the problem is we need a name for this drinking establishment. So we was going to tap the audience to get a name for this place in which beers will be imbibed at.
Yes. So some really nice, like, salty dive bar names would be really great. So, if you got something, write it in the chat.
Yeah, come on, audience. Think of something.
Yes, do it. And while you guys are coming up with an amazing name, we will remind you once again that you need to buy raffle tickets, and you need to buy a lot of them, because they're giving away some cool stuff. And at the end of this one, it's going to be
replica Fallout 4 Pip-Boy and Fallout 4 stim packs.
Yes, that's right. And you want to get those. And the Corvette. Don't forget to tell Bobby about the Corvette. Tell him that we said he was supposed to do that at the end of our show. That was the whole plan.
Yeah.
Trick him into
We're never going to come back to this.
Have one, but he'll have one.
We're never going to be invited back, but that's okay, because for the next hour,
you guys are ours. We run this show.
That's right. We have Eric the Mage offering the Drunken Sod, and Oscor altering the Salty Shore.
Ooh, the Salty Shore. The Nameless Wench.
Nameless Wench. Ooh. I think I like that one. I think or the Drunken Wench.
So we got 3 suggestions.
Drunken Wench, put 2 of them together.
Drunken Wench.
Ooh.
I like that. The drunken.
The Salty Winch.
The Sordid Affair. I feel like that's a tavern name I've been to in a D&D game.
I think that's a Poirot title.
The Lively Starfish.
Oh, that sounds adorable.
I think we should go with the Drunken Winch.
I think that's a good idea too. What about you two? Drunken Winch?
Drunken Winch.
Drunken Winch it is.
Thank you, Eric and Oz, for letting us mash those 2 together.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down. Drunken Winch.
Good job, team. While that's happening, I imagine the crew's going all down there, right? Like they're all like, "Yeah, let's go," type of thing.
Yes.
Thomas tries sneaking away from the group, and his cohort is another Keshan, and he's large. He's huge. He's buff.
Yeah.
He's this basically like a white lion, and he has belts. He just has like the bottom half of the tunic that I can't think of right now. Not a skirt, kilt. It's kind of like a kilt around his waist, showing a lot of his skin, fur.
Scandalous.
Skin fur.
Yeah, and he immediately just puts both of his massive hands on Thomas's shoulder and just kind of pushes him along in there. And he's like, "No, you need a drink." And Thomas is like, "No, I don't, please." And he just keeps shoving him into the tavern.
So just to kind of point out, as you guys would be going to shore leave, as part of payment, you would also have gotten your wages up to date, or at least some of your wages. So you guys aren't going out penniless to spend your, money you don't actually have. You have your own money, because most bars and taverns aren't going to give a sailor a tab unless they know the ship constantly comes back.
Yeah.
So, so you guys are able to make your way down the docks through the small fishing communities to the Drunken Wench. It is a dark gray wood building that has 3 walls and an open face that faces toward the setting sun. There's much of a roof, but the center of the building has no roof, and there are lots of tables and a very large bar. It is packed this late into the evening. You can see a nice collection of
It's lunchtime.
people.
It's not evening.
It's not evening?
No.
Afternoon.
It's afternoon.
It's packed this afternoon. I'm terrible with time.
That's okay.
Ask her.
That's why I'm here.
Yes, everything is afternoon. I just woke up. It's afternoon.
Time is a construct.
Time is a construct. Thank you very
Time
much.
is an illusion.
Every day is Monday. The bartender, who has no name, but we're going to lean on to the audience to help name. Man, I'm just going to use you guys to name everybody.
All right. We need a great name for the barkeep of the Drunken Wench. Male or female. Doesn't
I
matter.
kind of want it to be female because of the wench part.
Ooh.
Like, she was the drunken wench, and her friends, like, I don't know, made a
Suggested.
bet that she lost.
Yeah.
We could use some of the things here, like Salty Sally.
Ooh,
We could
Salty
do that.
Sally.
Ooh,
Alice.
Alice.
Ooh,
Alice sounds pretty good.
I like that. Brenda Dupree.
Reed. Interesting name.
All right.
All right.
Select one.
I'm going to take them both because Alice is going to be the bartender and Brenda is going to be one of the wenches. And
Sarsha Salt.
Sarsha?
Sarsha Salt.
Yes,
She's
Sarah
Sarasha.
salty little
Sarah
Salt.
Shaw is going to be another one of the wenches. So we've got Alice the
There you go.
bartender. Let me write that down. And then we have Brenda. And Sarah Shaw. That's a nice name. I like that. We're going to make her a Keshan.
Ooh, I like it.
Ooh.
All right. So Alice and
Ooh.
Brenda are both humans, and Sarah Shaw is a Keshan. And so they run this place. It's all women establishment.
Sorry.
It's fine.
You say all women establishment, and somebody loses their cool. So it's an all-woman establishment, which has been set up for at least the last 5 to 6 years and has done rather well, drawing a lot of attention from sailors. None of the ladies who work here turn extra tricks, but that doesn't mean there aren't ladies who come around doing extra tricks. And Alice has been determined to keep them outside. But you can find them easily wandering around, the women of the night, getting an early start of their day. The bar itself is filled with probably about a dozen patrons. And as your group begins ambling toward looking for a large collection in which they can sit down and start gathering drinks, you both of you, I'm not worried about the rest of the crew, but just the 2 of you need to make perception checks.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Oh no, not perception.
Women of the afternoon.
Women of the afternoon.
Oh man, so I just wasted my natural 20 on a perception check.
You did. It's so great. Good deal.
Excellent.
You see.
You see all.
29.
21. Do you, Bastianus, my cohort, is there with me. Do you want him to roll separately? I don't have his sheet though.
No.
You'd have to
He's
roll
just
for
your
him.
cohort. I'm only worried about players. You
Awesome.
actively manipulate him. If you want me to role play him, you role play. I'll do that. Otherwise, you have to tell him everything to do, including like during combat, save my ass.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's
So,
fine.
yeah, he's just a. I'm going to say it. He's just a tool for you to manipulate.
Oh my god. Oh, Thomas.
Woo!
Ooh.
All right. Both of you, as you guys are approaching, see that there are a couple of individuals in the bar you're slightly familiar with. There's a ship that also docks. It doesn't get the dock in the security of the private bay. It gets the dock farther out. It, too, is able to break the edge, to pierce the edge. It's another vessel, just like yours. But it's not owned by the princess. It's also not run by one of the local nobles, which the captain of the ship is a noble. It's got a lot of lack of prestige, but it's called the Floating Bear because it's kind of like a bargee like ship. And there's a little bit of competition between
Animosity.
I like the word competition. She uses the word animosity.
You know.
There's an animosity between the Floating Bear's crew and you guys. It's always a competition. You guys ferry goods and can move a hell of a lot more cargo, like 46 tons on the Amber Falls. They can barely break 15 tons. So you guys get a hell of a lot more work. You also go a hell of a lot faster than their little tugboat. So there's a bit of animosity that you guys are able to notice quite a number of the Floating Bear crew here. As you walk up to the bar and begin looking around for your seating, I'm just going to describe it. Most of the Amber Falls crew members are heading off to what would be described as the right side of the bar, where the number of open seats and some bar space. Do you want to group up with the rest of your teammates and shipmates on the right-hand side, move into the center part of the bar where it looks like a number of the Floating Bear are hanging out, or move more to the left so you're like completely away from them? It's like, we don't know them.
Thomas would do that. Thomas would go to the left, completely away from them. But I would imagine Bastianus is like, no, you sit next to your best buddy, and pulls him to the right side where it's the crew, and he just plops him down there.
And Kodrog would be looking to see if the establishment has its own dartboard, and if not, if there's a place he can hang his own.
Wait, you brought your own dartboard?
I bring my own dartboard to every establishment.
Why?
It's painted on the front of his shield.
Thomas just stares at his shield and he goes, "Oh my God, you did that. You."
No.
I don't know whether it's being impressed or.
It's not.
Please tell me it is. That would be amazing.
I mean, there is a target painted on my shield, but it's not my dartboard.
Even we mess up. We thought it was the same thing.
Yeah, I thought it was the same thing when I saw it in your equipment list.
Oh, yeah, they're roughly the same size. So
yeah.
And you could technically use it as a shield, I guess. Like.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it this way. It would help you in negotiations in the middle of combat when you're holding your shield up and you're going, hit here, hit here. I can block it if it goes
Get the
here.
100. Oh, you win.
You win. Smash. Yes, they actually have a section wall. It's not made of cork. It's just a wooden wall that has had hay and bits of extra wood tacked on the front of it and painted up with markers. There's a huge piece of slate to one side and a bucket of chalk that hangs from it as well. There's a location not too far to play horseshoes, and I'm pretty sure that's the only games that they're going to keep around because those things won't break. There are no cards here. Cards are expensive.
Yeah, just bring your own gambling.
Yeah, and in Kadaf, gambling is frowned upon before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
So none of that.
Oh, speaking of, the basic laws of Kadaf that you all would understand is that number one,
Yeah, no gambling.
No gambling until after dark. No weapons within the city limits.
Yeah, so if
unless
you,
you are like nobility,
Yes.
security, like
Yeah.
city watch people, or you have like your carrier's permit, which none of you have because it's extremely expensive to obtain.
Yeah.
So we have all of our physical weapons on the ship.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Unless you wanted to sneak one.
If you want to sneak a weapon, we'll talk about that. Armor. If you wear armor around town and it's recognizable as armor, like metal armor, that's asking for a fight. And that will be frowned upon. You can see a penalty or a fine for that. Wearing something like your padded jacket or something along those lines that's just like, hey, I need this to stay warm, or some shit like that, they'll turn a blind eye. Swearing in public, not okay. They're only swearing after dark is okay, so no swearing until the sun goes down.
But not in reputable places.
Yeah, if you're near the church, you can't swear.
Yep.
So there's that.
They don't make very many taverns that are near the church, though, so I think you guys are cool.
Yeah, huge amount of boycott and protesting if a church goes up near the wharf.
Yeah.
We're sailors. We don't need religion. Go away. We need our women of negotiable virtue.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, very much so. There are pit fights outside of town. So if you're looking to make some extra money by beating the crap out of somebody, go outside town and do some pit fighting. Inside town pit fighting is a no.
Yeah. Fighting is right out.
Fighting is right out. Getting drunk, as long as it's you can make your way home, it's perfectly fine. If you pass out in the street, I don't think they really.
No,
they really don't care about drunken disorderliness.
No, not as long as you're not hurting anybody. But if you wake up and your belongings aren't there, like they're gonna probably trash your police report. So.
Yeah. Theft is wrong. So if you want to steal from somebody, you get caught, you'll go to jail, get in trouble.
So the basics semi apply. I think that's good.
That's about it.
There we go.
Right. So you guys have arrived at the tavern, and Thomas and your cohort have moved off to the side with the rest of the crew. What about John's character?
Oh, I'm going straight to the dartboard. No way.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, I think Ian's going to go over there.
Technically, what are our wages? So
Yeah,
I know how much money I start with.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You probably you just got back from a cruise, so the princess probably felt nice and gave you guys like 2 copper pieces, and you probably have at least a month or 2 worth of wages, which is another 2 copper, because you guys are just your rigger. Thomas, you're a able-bodied sailor, so you guys, the riggers get paid 3 copper a month. You guys, able-bodied sailors, get 2 copper a month. By the way, you're like, what? Yeah, just remember that the currency goes platinum, gold, silver, copper, tin, and the average currency is silver. So you guys are getting paid.
Well, that's the rich currency.
That's the rich. I'm sorry, that's the rich currency. Yeah. So like when you come to this bar, you're going to be given a copper disc that has King's picture on it, and it's got like little marks on it for when you cut it. And so you'll cut the piece of copper into 4 pieces, and each bit is probably going to get you like 2 to 3 drinks
you're
of
gonna
ale.
You're gonna get wasted.
You're gonna get wasted on like a copper or 2.
Yeah. Well,
so,
no, it'll be like a section
a bit.
of 2. Yeah, a bit or 2. And if you don't want to get that drunk, then you can exchange those bits for tin coins, which are even that way you can pay a tin.
Because it's like 2 tin pieces for a drink, which a copper is 10 tin. So 1 copper will get you 5 drinks.
Yeah.
And this is like a pint.
Yeah.
Of ale.
Okay. So yeah. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, it does.
All right. So what would you like to do?
Dartboard first.
All right. Ina will see that as an opportunity to cream you in a game of darts. Oh. Inu is the resident marksman on everything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally down for a friendly match of darts with you, Inu.
Friendly.
Go gentle on a poor dwarf.
I thought you're like part of nobility and heritage from a heroic, great, whatever.
Well, yeah, it was my great grandfather that did finally stop the Leviathan. So I suppose if you would like to bow, you can.
You can buy me my first drink. All right. And he says, we'll play a round, and the loser of that round buys the other one a drink. And we go that way the rest of the night until one of us falls face first into the dirt. I hear dwarves can handle the liquor.
I haven't met a drink yet that's bested me.
So, Inu has a pretty rough average skill. He will get up. His bonuses to hit are like +7 with darts, dude. You only got a 5. But to your advantage, Inu has a constitution score about 10. And he doesn't have that incredible +8 versus intoxication like you have.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the first round or two, it goes really to his side. But about round 3, it's all downhill.
Mm-hmm.
As he's drinking and trying to throw straight.
So, Thomas, you see that the dwarf and the Failing have decided that they're going to compete in darts. So you've been watching them for the last several rounds. The Failing Inu is starting to kind of stumble about a little bit more. What have you been doing in the meantime? Just watching the crowd, people watching?
Yeah, I think Thomas is he's gonna primarily keep to himself. He's gonna have like a journal open, writing in it, and Bassianus is trying to get him to join in the darts, cheer on his, dwarven companion, and Thomas isn't just having it, and he hands like Bassianus like half of a copper, and he goes, "Here, just drink, go, chew," and Bassianus comes back with drinks, and he just starts pounding them back like they're nothing, and Thomas orders himself food because he didn't eat. Hopefully the food here is better than what it was served in the ship. So
how much money do you want to put into getting food? Half a copper?
Half a copper, because then that'll equal the whole copper I would have had. Because I gave
they bring you
half.
They bring you like a chunk of ham, a half a potato, a loaf of bread, and a pile of green veggies.
Oh yes, this is food, Bassianus. This is food.
Freshness.
Not that. No.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just see him laughing at you like, whatever, I'm just drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Bassianus just gives a hearty laugh and he just chugs.
Everybody's of course enjoying themselves, watching the sport. They see Thomas, excited about the food. They all laugh. Dimitri, who is also sitting there off to one side, is reading a book. He laughs. You'll just have to get used to Cookie's food. So you're not the only person here with a book in front of them. The long, lanky, long-haired human rigger is also reading. You guys have become pretty rowdy watching the whole dart thing. About the third round in, 2 more patrons have joined in. In doing so, Inu wanders over, orders his next drinks for you and him because he's losing now. And when they serve up, Inu clacks the 2 mugs together, sending a nice frothiness of ale onto 2 of the Floating Bears members as he turns, leaves the bar abruptly without any concern for his accident. Which one was me again?
Oh, no.
I'm the middle one.
Yeah.
All right.
So
the nearest one is a Takiao. He or she, you're not really sure about their sexing either. They look like reptilians. They have a very interesting kind of attribute. They can see in the dark, pitch blackness. You can't hide from them. Their eyes pierce through blackness. It's crazy. Like, they also have the ability they have like claws and spikes. They're very aggressive. Like, well, no, they're not aggressive. They're peaceful. No. They're very peaceful, but they have a lot of fighting weapons for them to use. Natural weapons that they're intelligent merchants. Yes. Anyways, he or she gets doused with this stuff, and he's wearing a nice leather jacket. And he just looks at the mess as Inu walks away. Damned little things. It's not just him. It's all of them making noise, ruining everything. Ah, he says out loud. that ship, that crew.
They're the worst.
I love how.
Go ahead.
No, I love how they're like that. They make all these noise, and Thomas is just like, like going through a book, all happily, silently.
Yo, I think we need to go ask for our apology.
The Takeyao gives a nod, and the human sitting next to him is a rather large one. The Takeyao stands up, walks over to the collection of dart throwers who seem to be having a good time, and the Takeyao gives a very heavy-handed push to the back of Inu's head. "You spilled your drink on me," he says out loud. Inu whirls around with a great surprise of being pushed. "Hey, mate, watch what you're doing."
Watch what you're doing, half pint.
Whoa now. Just because he spilt half a pint doesn't mean he is one.
They wouldn't laugh, but
they're not laughing. I'm finding it funny.
And I'll put my arm around Inu's shoulder.
The tall human steps up and like puffs his chest up. He's I'll do the Takeyao. The Takeyao will say, "We won't get an apology from them."
We won't. The whole damn ship is filled with curs and cowards anyway.
Takeyao will spit on the ground as they head back to their spot at the bar. The quartermaster being the biggest flea-bitten one of the bunch.
Damn straight. Oh, look, he probably gave his fleece to that one over there.
Pointing at Thomas's friend.
Ugh.
Bastianus just immediately sets down his drink and he goes, "That is absurd!" And he stands up and Thomas like reaches over for him looking from his book and he's like, "Oh gosh, okay." And he stands up following him.
Everyone at the table right now, Dimitri, Gabriel, Fern, who's been kind of like, just hanging out doing things, reading over your shoulder and over his shoulder just for fun, and to bother you. So everybody is paying attention right now.
This amongst the crew of the Floating Bear, there is another burly-looking Keshin. Yeah, we'll say that's the one who says that. A burly-looking Keshin who snorts, spits to the ground, and says, "To top it off, they have a filthy ogre repairing their piece of termite-infested driftwood they stole from the scrapyard. Damn thing should burn."
Fern, at this point, leaps up. She leaps up onto her chair and screams, "Ah!" as she launches her drink at that bastard Keshin, and then she launches herself at them. Nobody calls my friend an ogre and gets away with it.
You just see her little legs running down the table and jumping in midair.
Pretty much.
Bursting into flames. All right. Well, with her throwing herself at the large Keshin, the first hit is pretty solid, taking him down from the bar. Inu says, "It's on!" and throws his half-filled mug at the Takeyao nearby, who then dodges it and heads straight toward the melee with you guys. The whole crew of the Floating Bear immediately start heading in your direction, throwing tables or mugs. So this is initiative.
Yeah, and
people begin yelling.
Kodrug grabs his beer mug in one hand, downs the beer real quick because he doesn't want to spill any of it. Takes a fistful of darts in the other hand, and shouts, "Bar brawl, it's on!"
Thomas immediately goes, "Can't we just talk about this?" And he starts getting lower and lower under a table as Bastianus gets ready to fight.
Oh, right. The bartender, Alice, will yell out,
"No magic! No magic! I just replaced that back wall!"
which Fern's fire disappears quickly. She's also calling, all right, so Brenda and Sarah Shaw immediately retreat from the melee as quickly as they can, and we're going to do an initiative. Yeah, initiatives.
Wow, you have a +8?
Yeah.
I have a +2. 7.
I might be
Alright.
small, but I'm quick.
Yeah,
All
apparently.
right, the large human sailor immediately grabs his mug, but no fistful of darts. Instead, he grabs a chair and comes right for you. John. The Takeo, on the other hand, makes a shift, having a dislike for... What was your friend's name, Thomas?
Bastianus.
Bastianus. Moving quickly to engage Bastianus as Bastianus moves to engage into the melee. Inu.
Yeah, get him.
All right, so Bastianus, well, you will need to roll his initiative, and I put his sheet up. Were you able to find it?
Let's just- We
In
don't
the drive, I haven't even looked in there.
Okay, fair enough. I will work on that for you. So that's a 7. And let's see. Oh, he rolls terrible. Gets a 7 as well.
Oh, come on, Bastianus.
Go here.
Well, I think that Fern's like battle cry kind of stunned everybody just a little at first, and then you see these like tiny flaming hands running across the bar, and it'd be kind of a scary thing at first.
Heck yeah, I imagine so. All right, so Bastianus's initiative bonus is a 4.
Okay, you want me to roll that, or did you roll
Yes,
it?
I want you to do all his dice rolling. He's your cohort.
Okay.
He's your responsibility. All right, so the top of the initiative belongs to the
22.
dwarf. Woo!
Go,
belongs to the-
Bastianus.
Drunk dwarf. So you get to go first. Right now, the human sailor has tied up to you. He's grabbed a hold of a chair. The bartender is yelling, "Don't use the furniture! Don't use the furniture! No weapons! No magic!" You can choose to acknowledge her and not do these things, or you can, do whatever it is you want to do.
Is she cute?
Yeah.
Bastianus will oblige. He'll give her a wink, and he'll go over to this guy who's about to hit him with a chair and just punch him in the face.
The person who's about to hit person in the chair, the human is about to hit the dwarf. It's the Takeo who stepped up to Bastianus.
Oh, then he'll take
Takeo
up the
doesn't have a
Takeo.
weapon.
He'll start fighting it, her
All
or
right,
him.
great. So, John, what does the dwarf want to do?
Duck and roll under the human's legs, come up behind him, and hit him in the head with his mug, because she didn't say no mugs. She just said no furniture, no magic.
You could
Right.
just pants him.
All right.
My hands are full. That's my next move.
Oh, okay.
To roll between his legs, you need to have to roll an acrobatics that beats his CMD.
Oh, I can do that.
His CMD is a 19.
Gonna say,
Oh,
you
and hang
sure
on.
about that?
It's not a 19. It's a 17.
Oh, that's even easier.
Oh,
21. Oh,
21.
nice.
I like these electronic dice.
You're able to acrobatics past him in between.
he needs to
Oh,
describe it.
you're right. Go for it. You have to describe your action.
Oh, I hear the call of a no furniture, no magic. I look at my right hand and see the empty mug, and I looked at my left hand and see the fan full of darts. And then I look at this fool who's about to ruin a chair, and decide the best course of action is to be behind him so he can't hit me. So I make a diving leap and tuck into a ball and narrowly get my giant dwarf frame in between his legs.
Heck yeah.
Pop up behind him.
All right. Now that you're in the rear, you have rear attack, and his dexterity is ignored for this. So if you have sneak attack, it can add to this damage.
I do.
Are you making a called shot for the head? You suffer a -6.
You're gonna claim non-lethal damage, John.
He's using a mug. He doesn't have that option.
Oh damn!
Oh my god, are you gonna murder this guy?
Please.
I'm joking. It's just a clay mug. It's not going to do lethal damage.
Okay, I was like, well, I don't want to do a called shot,
You just-
accidentally crit and murder this guy. Like,
You just murder this guy. Like,
It's not. It's not going to do lethal damage. It is going to do a D4. So you've got -6 from called shot. You get a +2 from rear attack. So that's a -4 to your attack.
okay.
And you're only called one swing, so you only get one swing.
Okay, so how does two-weapon fighting work with this modification?
I should have told you that two-weapon fighting doesn't exist in this setup. There's no reason to have it. If you want to carry two weapons, it just means you have a variety of damage in which you can take advantage of.
Excellent. Okay.
We'll talk about it more later.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I will do my one shot with the mug. -4 to his head.
A 12. His AC is 11.
Yes.
Nice.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's a 10 because he loses that 1 point of dexterity. Yes. So you hit him in the head. Now it's a headshot, so it's an automatic crit. So you're going to do 2d4 plus twice your strength.
And then your sneak attack.
And then your sneak attack damage.
That guy's going out.
I'm just trying to save the furniture.
Save the furniture. Well, you're destroying the mug in the process. So.
Well, yeah. Okay, so
That's not a furniture. It's a utensil.
that's 2d4, and then
Oh
sneak
man,
attack,
15 points of damage.
Yeah.
plus
All right.
the sneak attack, 21 points of damage.
21 points of damage. As a swift action from being hit, he didn't expect this to happen. He's going to do his Barbarian Rage to increase his fortitude.
Oh.
He has to make a fort save versus a DC 26, 21 plus the 5, to not be stunned. So he's got a +7. I'm going to roll. I get an 8. He gets a 15. He fails. So he's stunned, and he missed by 11 points. So he's stunned for 2 rounds. He's still Barbarian Raged, but for those next 2 rounds of Barbarian Rage, his rounds, of course, he doesn't get to utilize them. He's like, just screaming at the ground right now because you just destroyed your mug.
Many a babe has been laid down crying.
Somewhere nearby, Cookie goes, All right. The next one initiative is the Keshin.
Yes.
Man, if I don't write that name down, I'm never going to remember it.
Just call him Base.
Base. All right, Base's turn. Yeah. He got a 22. The Takeo has moved forward and is standing in a slightly defensive posture, as if they know how to fight with fists.
Fisticuffs. Of course. Yeah, Bastiana sees he's gonna step up to that Takeo who insulted him and the captain, and he's not gonna even say anything. He's just gonna snarl and just punch her right in the face.
All right. Because Base is a barbarian, you can choose to rage. Rage gives you
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, baby.
He is not proficient. I did not make it to where he's proficient with his fists, but he will have a +1 to hit with his fists.
Okay.
While raging, he can call a powerful blow, and that will give him extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I'll do it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and give a swing at this guy.
All right. What do you want me to roll? Because I can't find his. Just a solid. There's no
just roll a d20.
Just solid d20. I got the modifiers in my head.
Oh!
You fumbled.
Bastianus, no!
All right, roll another d20, and this determines how bad the fumble is. Of course, you understand the lower the worse it is. If you get a 5 or less.
Oh my god! How?
So, your fumble doesn't cause him to fall down. Or
so, just so everyone else knows who hasn't gotten to see this, she rolled a 1, followed by
my
a 20.
first one, followed by a natural 20.
So this means that you fumble your attack, but you don't put yourself in a position in which benefits the enemy in any way, shape, or form. You recover quickly enough, and because you got a 20, he doesn't get to punch you back.
Awesome. Yeah, go Bastianus for not doing anything.
Like some description.
All right. Do you want to give a description?
Yeah, I would imagine like at first he goes to punch him. Is it a him or a her? Can you tell?
You don't know.
Even from looking at her front or his front.
You have to pants it first.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so he goes to punch it, and they end up like dodging it completely, and he ends up punching through one of the tables and ripping his wrist out. He just looks at the bartender and he just gives her this look like, I am so sorry. Like, and yeah, then he's just kind of caught off guard by that.
All right. The next initiative goes to both of the guys. They got 7s. So we will go to the human sailor who's raging. That's all he's doing is trying to bite back the pain in the back of his head because he's not wearing a damn helmet. Who wears a helmet when you go to a bar, right? Yeah. So that's his action. But the Tekiao, on the other hand, seeing that the large Keshin has come in, striking, smashing a table, he's not going to take too much of a kindly action to this. So he's going to shift in and try to squarely punch the Tekiao in the chin. So there's his fist attack. He is proficient with his unarmed.
He's going to punch himself in the face?
Yeah, I was going to say...
Did I just say that?
You did.
I did.
You did.
Please,
no, just continue. Punch. Let him punch himself.
Well, if I fumble, then that means it hits the base. Yeah, all right, so he's going to attack base with a punch to the chin. He's got a -3 to his dice roll. He rolls a 7, total of 4. He swings for base's head, and because of base's stumbling, it puts him into an advantage. The Tekiao will move back and hold his current position as much as he possibly can. Getting a horrible swing. In the background right now, there are chairs being smashed, things set on fire.
Yes.
Inu is standing on...
Nothing's being set on fire. For instance, she wasn't going to do it.
Inu is standing on the bar right now, yelling at the dwarf, "Give me a dart," as he's thrown his only dart into the opposing crowd. Give me another dart.
Fern has grappled the big bastard that decided to call her best friend horrible names. And so she's currently right now on his back, got his like 2 arms like pinned back so he can't rip her off. And then she's like biting into the back of his neck.
Oh my gosh.
Which is filling a big old mouthful of fur.
Yep. That's okay. She don't care.
I got Thomas got a 7. For his initiative.
All right, well then we're still at 7. So does Thomas want to do anything?
Yeah, he'll look around and
is there any rope in this area?
Yes.
That's like hanging down from the bars or anything like that?
Yes, and from the roof.
Yeah, good. Okay. So he'll kind of notice that, and since there's so much ruckus and everything, he'll lowly whisper and move some hands, and he'll cast animated rope.
Awesome. To cast without being noticed, you need to make a bluff test. Your target is going to be whoever would be paying attention to is probably would be Alice, because Brenda and Sarsha have already pulled back away from everything. Alice is there yelling at people.
I'm kind of good at that.
All right. Plus her perception of 4. She got a 12.
Do you want me to roll my perception?
No, Alice got a perception of 12. Your bluff has to be a 13 or better.
Yeah, it's got a 7. She can look at me.
I said no magic!
Too late.
He just starts going like this and goes, like, don't tell them. Like...
The spell has been cast upon the line that hangs from the roof. What do you want it to do?
I want it to wrap around one of the opposing team's waists and just pull him up.
All right, well, there's the Tekiao that your friend is currently fighting.
Yeah, that would be nice. Bastianus is having a bit of trouble.
Awesome. All right, so it's your level plus your mind makes your CMB. So your level plus your mind.
That's 3 plus 5, I think, right? Did you put it?
Yeah. My mind.
So you're gonna roll that, and you need to.
The modifier is 4 for my mind.
Oh, and yeah.
So
you get a 7.
7.
So you need to roll better than a 13 or better to grapple him with the rope.
Do it. That would be funny.
23.
Wow. So you beat your target number by 10 points, which is going to make it incredibly hard for him to get out.
Yes.
You use some very skillful rope tyings that you've learned while being on ship, like a double sailor's knot.
Yes. to lift him back up. So now he's dangling like a scaly pinata above the crowd.
All right. As we come to the end of this round, the local patrol was no more than a few hundred feet up the road. They hear the outburst of noise and breaking of furniture, and they know that this area is synonymous for terrible, fights and whatnot. And so, as the man in front of you stumbles, or the one hanging from the ceiling is dangling, the small Elam is grappling with the large furry one. Inu is throwing darts into people. No hold back. He pinned one guy in the side of the head.
Nice shot. I mean, no.
Luckily, he's got a thick skull, so it didn't stick.
And then when he reached up to pull it out, he threw one into his hands. The town guard come charging into the bar at this point in time, laden in their banded mail, as well as carrying shields on their back and short spears. They come in and begin breaking people up by butting them with their spears. The blunt end of their spears back and hitting people, moving them about.
Yes, one in the back has already taken up his horn of, we need more fucking people over here right now.
Yeah.
And blows it.
As Thomas is sitting at the table, your Keshan friend suddenly meets the back end of the spear tip that gets pinned into his chest and pushes him back toward the wall. And everybody's anyone who's standing is getting this blunt end of a spear and being jabbed toward walls, separating combatants and fighters.
Thomas is currently under a table still, so he's just kind of waiting for you get out, and he's like, okay, all right, jeez.
All right.
I didn't do anything, I swear.
Two of the guards move forward. As more guards are coming in at the end of this round, they'll be here. We'll not worry about them. The two that move forward point spears at one points a spear at both the Elam and to the Keshan. Let him go! Let him go! Or her, whatever it is. He doesn't say that. He says, let him go.
He's pointing that to Thomas?
Elam, to the Fern.
Elam. Okay, good.
So reluctantly, she lets him go, but not before twisting his shoulder so it pops really hard and with satisfaction. And then she'll sigh and was like,
Blunted spear tips begin jabbing people to move them back and separate the two. It's at some point, even one is used to knock Inu off the counter, who he hits his head first on the way down before he falls into the hay-covered floor.
Excellent.
Ooh.
And Thomas, you're trying to hide. One of the watchmen
he's
is
just kind of waiting,
clearing out people who's aren't involved, and so you get up and you're trying to sneak out, and then Alice from behind the bar is like, he cast magic. That thing right there, that was her. Take her too. I told you, no magic.
Thomas just kind of flinches and he goes, oh, and he turns around and he goes, I said no, don't tell them. He holds up his hands.
With the word of magic, the few guards who are butting ruthlessly to people stop. Their eyes grow great big. A few of them shift in positions to watch what's going on. As you see a bit of clearing comes around you, Inu on the ground with a bloodied lip goes, you're in trouble. As one of the guards reaches back behind him, withdraws his shield and lowers a spear. Out in the streets, all of you, separate into ships and out into the streets.
Yeah.
So on our way out, I don't know if I was separated off toward shipmates or not, but I'm gonna try and get one last hit on somebody from the bloated bear.
Oh my god, please.
All right.
Bloated bear, I like that.
Who do you want to hit?
Was it the Takeow that said ogre?
No, it was the Keshan.
Who
now may have a dislocated shoulder, but she doesn't care.
I'm gonna give the Keshan a pop on that shoulder on the way out.
Good fight.
With what's left of the mug in my hand.
The handle.
Yeah.
Oh, that percussion.
Are you trying to make this subtle?
Yes.
All right, bluff roll. Actually, I'm sorry. Stealth.
Oh, good. I'm better at
The
that.
guards have perception of 6. They got a 12. They got an 18 total. So they're watching you guys.
Yeah, they're watching.
Nah, can't see me. I'm short. Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh.
They can't
To the
see me. I'm
audience.
short.
So,
Oh.
yes. Would you like to
Well, that was
care
a
to tell them
one.
what you rolled?
Yeah, go ahead for it. This is all you, man.
Yeah.
So I would like to strike from the record from when I said I like the electronic dice, because this time they gave me a 1. But 1 plus 8 is 9. That's enough
Yeah.
to hit the Keshin's shoulder.
No, that's the stealth.
I-
That was the stealth.
Oh, that's
You
right.
failed your
That's right.
stealth.
Oh
Yes.
man, yeah, no, it is obvious. I have to jump up to hit this Keshin in the shoulder, probably, which is what made it so obvious.
Bastianus, as seeing this, just goes, yeah! when he sees him.
While I am a giant of a dwarf, I am still a dwarf.
Yeah.
All right. At that point in time, the guards turn, look to you. He struck him. The guards will turn and face you. And upon seeing you strike him, one calls out, "He's got a weapon!" Right? He's hitting another patron, right? So the guards turn, look at you, and they don't seem too happy. So they're going to separate you from the rest of your crew at crossbow point.
I
Oh.
drop my mug handle and
Alright.
the darts.
Thomas will kind of try to step in front of his dwarven friend, and he goes, no, it's really nothing. It's just take a deep breath. It's just a mug handle, right? Yes. Deep breaths,
Alright.
and I'll try to use diplomacy for this.
All right, you're going to try to bring this part down. Are you also going to maybe try to pass the buck over to the floating bear because they started by antagonizing?
Yeah, maybe, I guess.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll go
I'll put it on them. I'll be like, hey, they're the ones that kind of started it. I'm sorry that my companions got a little rambunctious, but that's what happens when you're on a boat for years. Kind of get a little crazy in some ways.
All right,
And-
make a diplomacy.
Can Kodrog assist the diplomacy with a bluff roll?
Yes.
Okay, because it's just this terrible twitch that I've got ever since I got caught up in the ropes.
Really? All
Yes.
right, make your bluff roll.
Twitch. You got a 5.
Okay, so the guard stares at you. A couple more guards come moving up into the area as they're doing stuff, as they're separating everybody out. Now you and Thomas are together, and the guard looks to you and says, "I'm not even on a ship, and I know they're called lines."
Ooh.
I was using a landlubber term.
He just stares at you, and they escort the lot of you off to jail.
Would my diplomacy have done anything if my
Yeah.
dwarven friend didn't speak?
15, in my opinion, is a success, but because he
Oh,
failed,
yeah,
I was
that's
giving you
true.
a penalty. They knew he was lying, therefore your diplomacy attempt was not going to
Yeah.
succeed unless you
And
got
that's when, like, when that's even when he was doing this. That's when Thomas just goes. He kind of gives him this look,
Excellent.
like, "Let me handle this."
So, because you cast magic, they're going to put you in the stocks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
They're gonna
okay.
they're going to take your boots away from you, and they're going to
Why
put
my boot? No.
They're gonna take your boots away, and then they're gonna put on these ridiculously thick gloves, and then you're gonna have your mouth gagged as well, so
And
you
then put you in
can't
the stocks.
take any spells.
because the officers watched you assault somebody, they're going to put you in the stocks as well. Because Inu was using a weapon, they don't have stocks for him. They're just going to hang him in a cage. Everybody else just gets put into a little ground cell. But the three of you are settled out. Dimitri points out, "I didn't do anything." They say, "You've got long hair. You're going into the jail cell."
Oh.
Yeah, no, he's a failing. He's going into the jail cell.
Dimitri?
No, oh no, okay.
Yeah, Dimitri's just a human dude with hair. I was just reading my book. I was just. They're going to throw him in jail because he's part of the crew, and they're not going to take any chances.
Yeah.
Plus, reading's the devil, so.
And he's got long hair.
Yeah.
Time's going to pass as the lot of you are.
You are going to spend the next several hours, perhaps overnight, in a jail with very minimal light, except for the three of you that are out in the stocks. You are very lucky people indeed to get scrutinied by passersby and all of the fun things that go along with people making fun of more people who are in more distressful situations than they are.
Like
Thomas
giving
makes a
you free
muffled,
food.
"This is all your fault." I'm looking at the dwarf that's next to him, tied up.
Time passes more than what you would like it to be. When finally, you see two familiar figures heading towards the bar. Well, not the bar. The jail.
But this is an outdoor jail. There's no walls. When it rains, you get rained on.
Exactly.
It requires effort. They're not going to make that effort.
You see Arthur, the quartermaster, the Keshin, and he doesn't look happy. He never looks happy, let's be honest, but he does not look happy. And the captain, very thin, live human with a very nice cut, in fashion outfit for this particular area. Well groomed, very manicured, and he has his eyes so wide and in a how could they do so? He looks very shocked when he sees the three of the two of you in the stocks.
I'll give my giant gloved hand a wave at him, just like, "Hi."
He'll approach and in shock look at all of you. Look toward the dwarf. Are you okay?
Oh, no, that's me.
The dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I'm doing the captain.
No,
you're doing the captain. Right, sorry. The
I'm
Keshin.
the
I'm playing the Keshin. Sorry, I forgot my role.
I can't do Arthur.
Go ahead.
Are you okay? You look... Why is she...
No, you should see the other guys.
Yeah.
They're totally fine. Nothing.
I thought I was still gagged, honestly. Are we not tied up?
He could undo her gag. Thomas's gag.
Yeah, so he comes up, he sees you and he removes the gag from you, and like, why are you in the stocks?
It was Gaz they called an ogre, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they called Gaz an ogre. Those bloated bears.
No.
Arthur will spit on the ground.
Yeah, forgive my language, but it's what they said.
That's unacceptable.
So obviously we had to stand up for Gaz's honor in his absence.
Gaz, not Gaz. Who are you?
Arthur.
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 I need you to handle the crew out here. I'm going to go in and make sure that we get all of this taken care of.
Aye, aye, sir.
And so the captain, the soft-spoken, very polite man that he is, marches into the jail area where the sergeant at arms, the guards, are standing there with their arms crossed back. And he goes up to them very, and then says, I need to have my crew released.
Aw.
The guard looks at him. Sir, they're to be imprisoned until further orders from the captain of the guards. And he knows the name.
Yeah, he's like, I know Clarence very well, and he's assured me that I can have them handed over into my custody.
The captain's name is Clarence?
I don't know, sure.
No, it's just what the guard's saying, because he's never heard the first name.
Yes? I thought that you knew him.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vanders? Captain Vanders?
Oh, Captain Vanders. Yes, sir. Do you have, we'll get the keys right away.
Thank you.
Arthur has moved over to the stocks next to you. He fishes into his little cuff and pulls out sliver of metal and jabs it into the lock for a moment or two, and the lock falls off, and he tosses it out. And he pulls the stocks back, and he gives Thomas a hoist up without needing the key.
Yeah.
The locks have magically opened for his fingers.
Yeah. And so
You hoist him up very easily. Like, he's very light, and he's just like, oh yeah, thank you, thanks. Easy on the jacket, thank you.
so you two and the rest of the crew are released into the custody of the ship's captain, and he does not say much as he escorts you all back to the boat, back to the Amber Falls. And you may or may not hear him whispering to Arthur. And he's like, are you sure that's the best idea?
Aye, sir. It'll teach them something.
I lean over to my dwarven companion, and I just go, they're talking about us.
I assume everyone's always talking about me.
Why do you assume that?
Because I'm interesting.
Keep telling yourself that, buddy. Keep telling yourself
And
that.
so, as you all arrive back to the Amber Falls, escorted onto the deck of the ship, the captain gets a few steps up to be taller. He's not a very tall man, so he wants to make sure that he is above you as he's talking to you. I've decided that for the remainder of our time here, that you will be staying here.
Grounded! Arthur jumps up and yells, you're to stay aboard the ship. Double duties. Swabbing the deck. I want it to shine. I want it to be clean. He begins pacing back and forth. I'm going to be so far up your asses, you're not gonna know what life is like.
Yes, and I expect you all to do exactly as Arthur says. If not, then I will have to think up something that is a little more... Well, I just don't want to think about it.
I'll think about it.
Thank you, Arthur.
Inu pops up and says, well, Captain, And Arthur cuts him off. No! Now get down below decks. There are pots to scrub. Get to work, all of you.
And anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. That's where I wanted to end, with Arthur screaming at people.
Yep. So
we have come to the end of our show. This was our first debut. I wanted to toss out a bar fight. We got it. Yay!
Yes.
Got through the bar fight.
Yeah.
I loved the fights. You guys did a great job. I can't wait to see more from your characters.
And yeah, so Bobby is coming back here to help with the raffle. One of the things that I do want to mention as he's coming back is that we have 2 players right now, and 3 is just a fantastic number, and I think all of you would agree. So if you all have enjoyed this show, enjoyed the world, and want to be a part of it, we are looking to audition for a 3rd player. So with that said, we would love anyone who is interested to audition. There are going to be some very strict requirements regarding your availability, your mic and audio setup, as far as noise in the background and everything, and having some really great role-playing experience. So yeah, if you all are really invested or interested in joining our crew of the Amber Falls, you can email us at originalboxset@gmail.com. I'll put that in the chat for you. And if you are interested in our GMing this Sunday at 6:30?
6:30.
At 6:30, we are picking up our Shadowrun game. So if you all are here for Shadowrun and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Come over on Sunday at 6:30 and watch us play Shadowrun instead on our Twitch channel, original_box_set.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done a minute early. Look at us.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Take
Mostly
that,
on
schedule.
Can you guys hear me?
Where's that ominous over voice?
You can't hear me?
Omniscient.
You should be able to hear me.
Yes.
Oh, I think So you can hear me, or the stream can hear me?
Muted.
Oh, no.
We can't hear you.
The
voice
stream,
of God is
the
not yet
stream
arrived.
can hear me, but they
Voice of
can't.
God
Hold
was
on.
played by Ralph
Let me
Williams.
make sure that they can hear
I'm
me.
cool with that.
I'm sad.
Oh, I guess we can't hear him.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
We can't hear him.
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
else
well.
can hear him but us. That's
That's
cool.
great.
We'll stop
Bobby, shut
talking.
I'll shut up.
You guys, they don't have to be so quiet. I just have to make sure that I fix this is the problem. Let's see. This is one of the things that happens when you do things like this. How about we do this? You guys can hear me now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
See, I told you I'd fix it, or I told the stream I'd fix it, because they could hear me.
No shit.
So yeah, I'm the omniscient. Omniscient. I am omniscient, but what I meant to say was omnipresent. I don't know. They can't see me, is what I'm saying, and I'm just a loud booming voice. Did you guys have fun?
Hell yeah.
All right.
We had a great time.
That sounds really good. I am really quickly just going to announce the people who won the stuff, and then we're going to switch over to Six World Podcast. If you guys are interested in Six World Podcast, coming back for a return episode one time, do some old Six World Podcast nonsense, then you guys stick around for that and tell people to come and join too. Let's see, what we were going to do, the Pip-Boy, Fallout 4 Pip-Boy is what we're going to do first, and it was actually, I already did the drawing, and it went to, this is exciting, I love it when this happens, it's going to Anonymous, and I'll be getting in touch with that person who anonymously did that, but the Fallout 4 Stim Pack is going to, and maybe they're in the chat room, Evie Denver. And so that person, if you're there, then congratulations. If not, and you're hearing this later, also congratulations. And otherwise, I'll be getting in touch with you via email. Thank you guys for previewing this. I'm really excited about your show coming up on the network.
Excellent. We're very excited as well. And we are going to be officially starting, I believe it's going to be mid-August after all of the con stuff's out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all prepared, and we're most likely going to be doing it on this Friday or Saturday. We haven't decided the date yet, but we are going to make sure that you all know when we do.
Yep, Friday and Saturday are both open for us on the Shadowcasters network, so I've told them that I'm leaving it up to them which one works best for them. All right, well, I'm going to say see you guys later, and thank you again. You guys will see Paige a little bit later on Join the Anarchy. And like I said, after a short little break with some of these ads and some music from Opti and stuff, you guys will get. I'll be back with Join the Anarchy, RJ Thomas and Kevin Zarnecki. So
Excellent.
So thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Yeah,
and thank you for letting us share this. We're so excited that we got to do it.
No way, you guys. We're all excited. So, all right, see you guys and bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks
guys.
again.